Bryn.
Hello.
I hope you're having a good evening.
We're getting through it, to best put it. I'm fine, but it's just circumstances regarding family that are needing an anchor, to best put it. But working through it.
Good deal. It's 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 always good to have a positive outlook on things. Um, so the reason I chose this topic this week, inner evolution, is once you've gone through your path for a certain amount of time, you can reflect an evolution that you've already gained, and it's important to do so. It's important to look at that. And what I mean by, like what I consider inner evolution is, we all adapt and evolve. Um, but are we adapting from outside influences? Which, not saying that outside influences can't help us. Um, that's where we take what resonates with us. But also, are we looking at the inside intuitions that we have that really guide us? We know ourselves the best. Um, we know it better than anybody else will. So I look at it as setting intentions for being the best that we can every day, and over time we'll see that the inner evolution. We'll see that person that we used to dream about. But it's really on the first round. I just like to go around and discuss what people or what you see as inner evolution, and maybe even some experiences of that of yourself. Because everyone's going to have their own understanding of, even evolution as it is, but we're talking more of an energetic evolution, not how we adapt physically, but how we adapt energetically. Which there's many different ways and tools and forms and fashions to adapt to things, and then over time you evolve to it. I used to say, I still do, I say transmute until it transforms. So you transmute an energy association to it until it transforms your association to it, becomes that habit, that change. So, but yeah, let's go around. Ash, if you could start us off, just your understanding of inner evolution and maybe some experience. Thank you.
So, the inner evolution starts the moment of awareness for us. As soon as we start receiving that energy flow and being aware of it, we start to evolve, to change. I noticed that those that actually take time in their day-to-day lives to have some reflection time can actually easier talk about the evolution process that they've been through because they've actually spent the time to study it. I can talk about, recent evolutions. Really feeling the connection anchor in for the crystalline body. like it feels almost more real than my anchoring in my physical vessel at times. And it's not that, I'm not here, don't respect or love or cherish my physical vessel. It's just here lately, I've felt myself not needing to be so attached to it. And so for me, that's kind of a evolution that I'm going through currently. I think we all are going through that. But yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I think we all have our own changes that we go through on a daily basis that bring us to that, ultimately that reflection of a big change. For sure. Thank you, Ash. I appreciate you. Vinny, would you like to just give us your understanding of inner evolution and maybe some experiences of that? Thank you.
Yeah, great. Oh, sorry, I got excited there. Thank you for having me. And before I get started, it's good to see everybody here. Whether or not you realize it or not, you guys being here, you guys showing up, comments in the boxes, everything here week after week. It's what we need as a people, as a family, as a society, as a collective, as an everything. We need more of this kind of space because we're talking about inner evolution, right? So these spaces help us energetically clear things. They help us energetically transform things. They help us energetically, raise our vibration as us just being here together, and it's needed. So we're talking inner evolution. For me, myself personally, through this journey, there was a lot of things I did energetically I didn't know I was doing, and now that I know that I do them, it's a little easier to control, and it actually makes it kind of cooler. So I'll give you an example. Like I do a lot of grounding because that's who I am, and that's what we all do as light workers. We're grounding in this new energy as we ascend. But I do a lot of grounding, and I'm able to change the frequency or whatever you want to call it, energy or frequency of a room to suit my needs so that I'm comfortable, not anybody else. So I'm comfortable in the room. So I'll raise the vibration just because I want to be comfortable in that space. And that's what I've learned how to do. I've done it all my life, but now I know I do it. So now it's a little easier. So it's kind of fun. And then just energetically being able to, as we go through this journey, as we've been through all these like Schumann resonance and all this energy that we're getting, there's a lot of ascension symptoms, but as we're growing and evolving energetically, it's affecting us less. Whereas, unfortunately, the people who are unawake, I like to call those people the walkers. Unfortunately, the walkers they don't know what's happening, so they don't know how to use our tips. They don't know how to use grounding. They don't know how to take some time and walk out in nature. They don't know how to, how to do all these things that we know how to do because we've been doing this. So it's starting to affect them physically. I noticed today when I went to work, everybody around me was sick. I was like, where's all this coming from? Like yesterday, everybody's fine. Now everybody's like going crazy today. It was nuts, but it's because of the ascension, and they're starting to feel it, whether they want to or not. So with that, I think I'll land my plane there.
Thank you, Vinny. And yes, like you're right on a lot of everything he said. And we gain awareness. Everyone gains awareness from just different practices, different things that we do, and you also have awareness of more of your surroundings. So now you're noticing these things of changes of other people, because like I said, um, outside influences, that could also mean Gaia. Gaia could be shifting, and that's a positive outside influence for us to adapt to, you know. So I appreciate that. Urbanus, can you give us your understanding of inner evolution and some experiences of yours with that, please, my friend?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I can. It's been pretty rough since after, I would say for me, Thanksgiving. Um, there's been a lot of energetic changes. Um, even though it's a holiday and, most of us are empaths, so we can feel, you know, the sadness, the joy, and everything in between, depression, wanting to separate ourselves. But, yeah, it's very interesting from day to day. Our ascension, I guess, is becoming more and more prevalent. It's like you can feel, I don't know, I guess the universe a little bit more clearer and what you want and how you want to carve your way out of it or into it. It's fairly easy, easier, I should say. I'm not gonna say easy. I'm not sure if anyone knows what the Schumann resonance is, but since Wednesday it's been off the charts. Crazy.
I have no clue.
Yeah, it's this whole entire this week has been pretty rough. I didn't even want to go to work, let alone talk to another person, because I was internalizing, and I still am, but I do feel like there's outside forces that are helping you not to get what you want, but helping you maneuver through this tough time. And it's not, and I don't want to call it tough, but it is. It's energetically. Whew. I'm gonna stop there.
Yes, I agree. We have a lot of different fluctuations in the Schumann resonance, and it can be, it can affect a lot of different things. So, thank you, Rabanus. I appreciate you. Azrael, we're gonna go to you next, and it's just first round's just your understanding of inner evolution and some experiences of yours. Thank you, bud.
Sure. Good evening. The longer I sit here and listen up, the more I'm waking up. I'm in pain. I worked very a lot in the last couple of days. But we're talking about inner evolution, and I definitely believe that our inner evolution will be the vision that we see within ourselves, is the ability that when we ponder on why things happen on a day-to-day basis. And generally, at the end of the day, here we are. We sit like I am and everybody else. We feel this energy. The energy feels drained that we need to rest. We need to rest and sleep. So why is sleep part of our lives on a day-to-day basis? So, I think our inner vision or inner evolution is allowing ourselves to self-reflect on the things that we done throughout the whole day and be like farmers, and we're able to plant the seeds of tonight. So that way, in the AM, when we arise in the AM, we start with a fresh day, a new idea, because we have limited opportunities to encourage ourselves in the way we approach on a day to day, and it's about what we feel in our hearts and what resonates. So many times, I recall, not right now, but whiles ago, where I will only sleep like 4 or 5 hours, but I could take on the next day like it was no problem, like a champ. But days like today, where I'm tired, if I allow myself to say, you know what, I'm beat. I bet you, if I don't sleep enough tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have a crappy day, and that's where we're wrong. I definitely believe the evolution will be me allowing myself to go through, get through this whole life here with a positive attitude, allow myself to learn from everybody here as well as myself. And to those in the comment and self-reflect and say, you know what, I did it, and you know what, tomorrow's going to be a better approach. And how do I do that? By allowing myself to go within myself and say, you know what, I'm going to plant the seeds tomorrow. I mean, tonight for tomorrow morning, to allow myself to be able to take the wisdom that I gained today from each one of us here tonight, our perspective. Because even myself, we all can learn from ourselves through our own words and the things that we share that are straight coming from our hearts. And I learned that that inner work needs to be done. And inner vision is not here, but instead of inner evolution, I would call this inner visions, because I think this is what the evolution is the visions that we allow ourselves to embrace, so that way we can move forward. And what I was getting at is that if it wasn't for tonight, and this discussion, I wouldn't remind myself or be able to comprehend that, what, this stagnant, this way that I feel, even the pain, whether it's in my calves or what I've done throughout the weekend as a work, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean nothing, because you know what? It's all mind over matter. It's what I feel inside. It's the seeds that I'm going to plant. So that's what it means to me. It means to me that to remind myself and everybody here that we are like farmers. We're able to plant the seeds. So in the AM, while we're in the darkness, we grow from the soil and we arise through the aches that we gain through the day. Like an oak tree, we're able to plant the seeds for tomorrow, on and on. But I yield.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great way of manifesting, setting intentions, and yeah, the repetitiveness of that. Having a hard time speaking tonight. Sorry. um, it really carries on. It really builds up and helps focus. There's a lot of positive aspects to that. Self-reflection, it's a big thing. In a positive manner, though, we can self-reflect and within negative thoughts and um, still evolve, but not in the manner that we want. So we have many other discussions, like we've had discussions on mindfulness, and that plays into that, being mindful for the things that we forgave ourselves for, and looking at what we've learned from them. So, yes, I appreciate you, Azrael. Bryn, we'll go on to you. It's just the understanding of your understanding of inner evolution and just some experiences. Much love.
So for me, I would say inner evolution is simply moving everything that is dimming or veiling or trying to conceal this light that we all have within. Every single one of us has the exact same light. The only difference is the layers upon layers of shroud or veil or preventing this light from being able to be shined and truly visible. And having that awareness of we all at the core start in the middle with this light, and as life progresses, things get on, start to make layers to start dimming it and dimming it. But when, after time, looking at the layers that have been put upon your light, when you start peeling those layers off, the light of the all, that's the best way I can describe it, it becomes more prevalent. You become more aware. You're able to understand. And most importantly, you're able to then use the light you have that is being more lit to show others that they have it too, despite all the shroud and all the veils that is covering the light of theirs. But when it comes to now for a personal experience, well, I don't think I've ever shared this before, so we have a first time for everything, so here we go. A long while ago, we're talking like at least back in that would be 2018, I met another mentor that I'm really blessed and lucky to still have. And he and I spoke, and he sent me a video that he did on YouTube regarding defining what the Sin Eater empath is. And specifically, it is, to best describe it, it is nearly somewhat the same concept of energy vampirism, but it takes it a lot of notches up. Instead of feeding off of somebody's life, they instead feed off of the negativity, the guilt, the shame, the intensely karmic energy somebody's afflicted with. And this gift, I have known that I've been given it. It is a double-edged sword, most definitely. And what I have come to learn is that at the end of the day, there is no real over-the-top wrong that somebody can do that doesn't give them the chance, and everybody should be given this opportunity and fair chance when they are sincerely seeking out atonement and growth and learning from their mistake, and then to move forward from it. When they seek that, then they definitely deserve to be, well, liberated from it. And by liberated, meaning essentially the Sin Eater takes all of that negativity, especially if it's karmic, because the Sin Eaters can feed off of that. Liberating somebody from that gives them the opportunity to move forward in their life as they should. Because in order for somebody to grow, if something is in the way, it's like you're preventing a plant, a flower, to be able to grow by your putting something over the top of it. It can't grow. So removing that, the flower now has a chance to sprout and start to grow and blossom as it's intended to. But the Sin Eater has to also remember, not everybody needs to be given that liberation. Sometimes they have to endure the consequence, be it good or bad, of the actions that they chose to do. And they must choose to seek liberation with sincerity. If they choose not to, and they choose just to be liberated so that way they can do whatever the heck they want to do. No. Because in order to grow, you have to endure not only the best of times, but most definitely also endure the most difficult and be able to withstand it. Because when you withstand the harshest, you'll be able to withstand anything else that anybody brings towards you and help them get out of it too. And thus they can do the same for others. But that's where I'm going to land. I don't want to become like a filibuster about this, but Mike pass.
Thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. Go ahead, Ash, if you want.
Yeah. Sorry, Proby. Anybody who knows me knows that when it comes to the empath, that's a field of study I've spent many years in. And we are talking about inner evolution. So what greater time to discuss that very thing? The difference between those two very drastically sounding titles is consent. That's it. There's a lot of our gifts, guys. Doesn't matter. It's a double-edged sword. Okay? Always consent. And that's the whole point. You can transmute. That's all you're doing. Okay? You're taking the energy, you're transmuting it. You can transmute all day long. Doesn't matter. As long as you have that consent. That's the difference between the big scary energy vampire and what he's calling a sin eater. Some people call a dark empath. Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you crumble that cookie.
I agree with that. It's what's the healthy exchange, right? Once it's not a healthy exchange, then that's when a change needs to happen for whoever it's not healthy for. Because things work symbolically that way and find balance. Now I agree also.
So shadow workers.
Okay.
Shadow workers do it too. They transmute from the shadow. Like basically they work from the shadow for the light. Because they're capable of transmuting it into the light. Because they recognize and understand basically what they're able to do is they go into their very core center vibration that is divine essence. Okay? And they're able to transmute everything else from a pure light place. Anyway, okay, I'll be quiet.
Lovely. No, like I like how Bryn was talking about the layers we put upon ourselves through experience. It's like we have to deconstruct from ourselves to get back to creating all these shadows of the light, and so I really like your view. I just wanted to say that. I appreciate you. Thank you. Welcome, and the first round we're just your personal understanding of inner evolution, maybe some experiences, whatever you'd like to bring to the topic.
Okay, how you doing? Gratitude, everyone. My understanding of inner evolution also starts with accepting, because there's a lot of deception in this planet right now, and it's come to the point where it has been passed on in generations, where this is why the planet can be also the way it is right now. And I do understand that we are all born with love. but there's just certain aspects of ourselves that we do have to understand to complete, to accept, to accept your true self, and to accept it, to accept the truth. And I accepted the truth. I've always accepted the truth because I've always had love, and I always kept my love. And a lot of, well, the energy, the opposite energy of what we represent today is, is always try to quiet you or try to explain that you're not important or treat you like you're not important. But to come to understand that love does speak, as they say, high volumes, which is high vibration to me. And the more you speak into existence, into yourself of love, it does come out to existence. It just takes time. And I learned that through the journey that I'm on now. And it does, I do come into more acceptance every day because the universe is nothing but learning. And your true self is still there. True self is still within you. And this is what we're all decoding, I can say. Because the karmic side is always still a part of our journey to come out of it, as our higher selves. That is our reward. It is still there. There's no reason to chase anything, just manifest it. But the more you speak love into yourself and continue to ground and meditate and detox when it's needed, because you can eat certain things, but just always be mindful of what you do put in your body because it does affect. Excuse me. There's nothing that it can affect, but it does block certain thoughts and certain downloads of information that you can take, that needs to be taken out. So it's always you're always in the high vibrational way where you always want to stay in a high vibrational way. And it's always going to be like that as long as you bring that order and bring that self-discipline that you already have. Because we were all born with intuition and discernment. And I realized by a lot of the brothers and sisters out here reading all these books and not understanding that discernment and intuition is the number one thing in spirituality that I'm sure that other brothers and sisters and other words use in order to understand the truth. But like I said, this is a part of the journey, and I do pray for the brothers and sisters that are still trying to find their way, because the universe has you where you need to be. But as you continue to manifest and elevate, know that you're not alone. You're not alone. You may feel like you're alone, but your true power does have to come back to you. And that is the only way for you to be by yourself. But you're not by yourself, and you're not alone. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You brought a lot to the table. And honestly, I can tell that you seek love because you're in a place of grace with yourself, and it's amazing. There's a lot of things that you brought up that shows that you have the awareness of that, which means you've experienced it. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, you are, James. Much love, brother. Just this round, it's just your understanding of inner evolution and just whatever you want to bring to the topic. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, Fire Ash and Ravenous and Vinny and Tony and everybody and Angela, Chris. Inner evolution. Well, you guys are nailing so many great aspects from your own experience, and it's the beauty of this new world we live in, that we can get so many different perspectives and learn from each other. So just a round of applause for everyone shining in their awareness. Inner evolution for me, it takes a lot of precedence for me, because like the gentleman that just stepped out, um, he was talking about the layers, and what this world does is it puts many layers around our awareness, which kind of place a lens, so to speak, over our thoughts to look and think and feel with a certain frequency. And as we evolve and become more spiritual and meditate, we begin to feel something, sort of liberation from this world. But what comes with that liberation, a lot of people forget that what comes with it is a new sense of feeling. And so for me, inner evolution involves a being or a state of not knowing, but always being receptive and always seeking new feelings of love and truth and peace. And in this world, we speak of love, but I think we forget that love is so endless that it's not something that's just complacent. It's something that ever grows within us. And sometimes we who don't experience that love, but we know about it, sometimes we have to create it within our minds and just know that it's there and not just speak on it and do things of a lower nature, but we have to take a moment and create it so that we can grow in love and grow in awareness. And so a lot of times throughout my day, I'm catching myself in my thoughts and not being verbal anymore from all this years of growth, but I'm able to speak with kindness. I'm able to not gossip and catch myself if I am gossiping, and transmute, just like Ash said, transmute a lot of negativity around me into kind of playfulness, into kind of joking energy. But most part, being silent is so powerful because you can just observe the world around you and you have the patience to react to better someone's situation, or you can worsen their situation. But you have the moment to pause and reflect instead of being unaware and just spewing energies of other people. So other people will come to you with their energy and their maybe negativity, and it's up to you to be creative enough to transmute that into a positive frequency. And so that's a challenge, but I've been doing it every day. I've been doing it gracefully, and my dreams are reflecting my awakened work, as so to speak. My dreams are a lot softer. I'm the same person I am today in my dreams. I'm not just subconsciously ranting or subconsciously going through negative energies. My dreams have been an opportunity for me to see the growth that I'm doing in the physical world on myself and to have it reflected in the spiritual. And oftentimes that growth will take the form of superheroic dreams, saving the world or things like that. So as long as you know that there's always going to be growth. Once you get to the top of a mountain and you have that view, you see another mountain, and it's always going to be a climb towards the highest. We may not be perfect, but we strive for perfection. And so inner evolution is really big with us in our spiritual lives because it really allows us to see who we are and how the world has shaped our thoughts so that we can break out of the mold of just stagnant, dormant feelings and explore a new reality and be childlike and create feelings of radiance and divinity and move into a new existence within our hearts. And so with that, I shall land my plane. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was wonderful. I, I've always appreciated you ever since I met you. So, love you, brother. Angela, it's your turn, and I mean we're just basically talking about the inner evolution and what it means to you, and maybe some experiences or whatever you would like to bring to the table. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for having me. Some very interesting topics so far. I missed the start, but I did catch the last couple of people. So I guess one of the main things that I would say on this topic is that I come from a human design background in terms of like the way that I structure my understanding of the spiritual processes. And part of that is that like human design it's the astrological implementation of the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah, it could be said, not that I'm an expert on it, but one way to describe it would be that it's a process of purification. And so for me, everything about inner evolution is about clearing the ego, the fear, the shame, and the conditioning out of the way of what we already are. To me, this music is so like, I don't know, jazz bar. It's really hard to think with it. Can I request a song change?
It's a TikTok thing. I don't think I can change the song. I'm not sure
Okay.
if I can.
Okay. Sorry, calm down a little bit. It was getting very jazz hands. Anyway, yeah, so that to me, like we're born with a blueprint. Thank you. To me, we're born with a blueprint, and everything about growth is about coming into the form to surrender the mind, and then through the form to allow that purification process that naturally occurs. I know that in a lot of ways, in the spiritual community, a lot of people think that it's something that we do it ourselves, we do it intentionally, but also that it's about going up and out rather than in and through. you go down in order to go up, as far as I'm concerned. And I really liked that you used the tree image because of that. Yeah, I don't know. That's some rough things. Rab called me up, but I missed what he said before. Was there something in particular you wanted me to talk about, or does that cover it?
Urbana said she was speaking to you.
Yeah.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Namaste. Willow! And I look, if Willow's on the panel, I almost don't need to be here. She's gonna have it covered. But...
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was wonderful. I like the background in human design myself too. I'm not familiar with the whole foundation of it, but I am familiar with at least somewhat of my own. So
Yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to say, and if that's okay, and that was that design is just one way to go about it. You know, the yogic traditions achieve the same thing. You know, meditation and yoga, embodiment. It eventually it creates the same thing anyway. It's just like an intellectual framework for the process of coming into the heart. Breath, breath, breath.
thank you. All right. Well, I'm gonna move on to Willow. Hello, Willow. This round we're just talking about the understanding of inner evolution and what it means to you. Maybe some experiences, whatever you would like to bring to the table. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. Thank you. I was laughing, Angela. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. Um, Inner evolution. That's, you know what, that's fascinating because I often think of, as within, so without. It's kind of like a perpetual transmutation. I feel like a lot of the times we come at the concept of evolution as a set thing, right? Where there's a set place that we need to get to in order to consider ourselves evolved, instead of really taking the time to understand that we go through a series of like micro evolutions every single day. Every single time we open our eyes, we are different than we were when we went to sleep. We're different than we were 5 minutes ago. Even just listening to the people who spoke before me, I am different now than I was when I joined this TikTok or before I joined the TikTok. All of those things are the process of evolution, right? So I feel like to look at it as, I have to get to this point or it looks like this, and having these expectations almost, right? Almost set expectations in our minds, which are largely based off of the conditioning that we go through, and modeled off of somebody else. So when we look at it that way, we tend to miss the actual process of evolution itself because we're not staying in the moment. So that's kind of how I feel about inner evolution, and external evolution, right? Because as we evolve, internally, energetically, in the heart space, in the mind space, in the body, we are having the full three-dimensional experience, which is simply an alchemization or absorption of vibration from fifth and fourth dimensions, right? So this is when we receive it and it's alchemized in our body, our behaviors, our thoughts, our words, they all change, they all evolve, and this is done on an almost constant basis. So we're not just trying to connect to source energy, we are source energy. And I think that's a really important thing for people to know, and to understand that just the very nature of your existence is a miracle. Just your existence alone is a miracle, never mind anything that you do, right? And I feel like the realization of that is has helped me quite a bit on my own journey. Did that answer the
Yes,
question?
that's amazing. Thank you.
Oh.
I appreciate you. I mean, I that I love that because just given that awareness that I mean, we're literally growing, learning constantly. Even
Mm,
resting is healing. It's always a motion of growth. And that's a positive aspect of that, which goes a long way. I appreciate that.
yeah, totally.
Just how it goes into 3D. What we generate, the energy we generate, is the energy that flows from us. So, same concept. As we work on ourselves, it's going to project out that, and that could be healing for somebody else as well. Or just lead by example is the best example there is. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, the next round, I was just gonna go into what are all right, what are some of the practices, tools, things that we could use to help us? I mean, a lot of you have already given pointers just with what you were talking about through the first round. For instance, Ash mentioned letting go. Vinny talked about grounding. Rabanas talked about walking away or not associating with certain things within the moments. Azrael talked about self-reflection, spreading the seed within yourself every night, creating that intention that you want as you wake up, so you're thinking about it. I do that. I've been doing that for the past year. I give everything that I'm grateful for on my mind as I'm going to sleep. Therefore, I don't have to think about it when I wake up. It's the first thought that comes into my mind is what I'm grateful for. So I appreciate that. Um, one talked about forgiveness, acceptance, meditation, and yes, you are talking about seeking. That's a big part of manifesting is seeking for what you actually desire. Um, Angela talked about foundations, human designs. Those are foundation of tools that when done properly for a person can achieve a lot, can achieve their actual goals. Um, so can I just start at the top, Willow? And can you maybe give some advice for some tools for people to be able to utilize to, be able to get over those humps, achieve what they're actually looking for within themselves?
I feel like probably the best piece of advice or the thing that has helped me the most, right, is releasing the weight of other people's expectations. Just completely releasing that, because no matter what it is that you do, where you go, how you do it, what you say, how you talk, how you choose to operate your life, the choices that you make, how many kids you have, it doesn't even matter. It could be something significant and it could be something insignificant. Someone's always going to have a problem, because humans tend to believe that other people think the same way as they do, right? So I would have a tendency to believe that, Rabanus thinks the same way as me, or Asriel thinks the same way as me, but in reality, no one else can walk your path for you. So while other people do have good advice, you are going to be the best advisor for your journey. So only do what feels good to you, even if it doesn't agree, or if other people don't agree. They're not supposed to, because it's not for them, it's just for you.
Exactly. I love that. Do what feels right. And the more that we get in touch with ourselves, the more we understand what feels right. And it's not what I call a false perception. Um, I just my personal experience, I would build up a false perception of something from outside influences, and once I really understood myself, I realized I didn't even like that. It was just something that other people liked. Um, I think we all go through those kind of stages in high school and stuff, and just the way society is in general. But yeah, that's a big part, I think, is getting away from society and the way it tries to mold us and who we're supposed to be, and finding out who we really are. And not caring about what other people's perception is, I think, is a big portion. If we all just kind of concentrated more on ourselves and not what other people are doing per se, Thank you. Vinny, would you like to describe some tools, maybe some tools that have helped you in your journey? Thank you, Vinny. Are you there, Vinny? Oh, there
Oh
he
yeah,
is.
sorry, my screen was being funny. So to build off kind of what Willow says, is a big part of it is, by using the tools that we use, right, for other things. A lot of the things we're describing, we can use in a lot of scenarios as helping tools to get us through life. What we're talking about is using things that help our mind, right? And a lot of these things help us. It kind of reprogram your mind into a way of thinking and getting your mind to realize when something's not right or something doesn't feel right, or you get that feeling inside that just doesn't feel right, so that you can use the things or change your perspective, because that's all it is when life gets tough, you got to shift your perspective so that you can get back to that peaceful existence that we try to walk around with all the time, because nobody wants to be unhappy. That's life. We want to feel good, we want to feel loved, we want to have fun. That share thing I had a vision the other day. I was dreaming the other day. I was surrounded by everybody I know in TikTok and all my family. But when I looked at everybody, it was everybody's voices, everybody's adult voices, but we were all in our inner child self, running around in a big playground, having the best time. So that's what we want to try. That's what we're trying to strive and create on this planet. So part of that is having the self-realization so that we can use these tools like grounding, like Rabanus was saying. Sometimes just being, realizing you're overwhelming and just removing yourself from the situation so that you can transmute the energy and, do a I don't know, whatever you want to call it, just a figure out what's going on in the situation and how you can change it or whatever. So the mind is the most powerful tool we have. So what I use and what I've been using to death, and it's great, I use it every morning. I am statements. I wake up in the morning and I say, I am protected. I am loved. I'm on the right path. I'm successful. And when you use these statements, your subconscious creates these scenarios for you in the future. So use positive I am statements to death, and then watch what happens in your life, and it becomes a lot cooler, a lot fun, and you have more fun with it. Because at the end of the day, you're the author. So create a good story, make it memorable, make it a blast, make it crazy. Do whatever you want. Because you have the power at the end of the day to do what you want, to make your life the way you need it to work, to create that peace and harmony you want to experience. And that's where I'm going to land my plane.
Thank you, brother. I agree. It's about, if we're wanting to be happy, it's about doing all the things that make us happy. And sometimes it's not even about doing them, it's about thinking about them. I used to transmute energy by a lot of 3D actions. It might be going fishing, camping. I crystal hunt all the time. Like, those things are transmutation of energy. But just being able to sit with self, ground, meditate, proper thoughts, those proper thoughts put us in the proper energy that we seek. It takes experience. So, like, yeah, it takes experience of having grace for or having love for the attachment of the thought and what the thought is of, the association, of course. But thank you. Thank you, Vinny. Urbanus, would you like to speak about some tools that you utilize for your inner evolution? Your mic was already off, by the way.
Oh, well, good for me. Anyways, there's certain things that we need to, I guess, understand here. Our we all signed this, I guess, contract to come here, and energetically, the information that we receive, there's no choice into receiving it. Yes, you can put up your shields and blah blah blah, but you're going to have to transmute and understand the energy either way. How you choose to do it is up to you. But as long as you realize that there is a positive outcome to said tool or realization, whether it doesn't hinder you or hinders anyone else, and it actually brings, like, I guess, light to situation, and maybe a higher vibration, and another understanding is what you should do until you don't need whatever it is that you use. Okay, so here, the easiest way to look at it is, some people meditate, some people walk, right? Some people smoke the devil's lettuce, among other things, and as long as that information that's coming to you is going to help you move forward in a positive manner, do it. You'll figure out that those tools are going to be a crutch sooner or later. You always will. As long as you're here, as long as you're within this 3D realm, this rendition of reality, you'll figure it out. And that's mostly what I use. It's literally the understanding of you still being here, and you still energetically raising the vibration of this existence, this world, and understanding what's going on around you, or at least have an idea of what's going on around you, you should be fine. Again, I talked about the human resonance. I'm not sure how everyone feels about the energetic reverberation of Gaia or Earth and how it affects us, but it does. 100%. And the waves that's been happening, it's been pretty intense. But I really think that it's a part of our ascension process. However you want to deal with it, do it, as long as it's a positive direction. That's it.
Thank you. And you're right. Tools can be limited, and then you become awareness, and you gain something else. And so it's what I like about when we talk about tools. When they can associate and coincide with the mind and have fundamentals, because they can go a long way, and it's I love how Angela said the process of purification, and there's just so much truth to that. I like to give an analogy of like water for ascension. As water vibrates higher, it then becomes into vapor, and it sheds all its impurities. It goes right back into water. And I feel like if we were to do a big grand scheme of that, I feel like I've done that multiple times. I've went through the cycles of becoming dense again and then becoming as light as possible. But yeah, I appreciate you, Ravanas, and you're right. Like how Vinny was saying, a lot of people at work have been showing sickness and maybe not feeling well. When spikes of energy happen, I know in my experience, my body will associate to an energy level that I've already experienced through some type of sickness that I've had, and it'll usually give me those symptoms of it. I remember the first time I got Wi-Fi, I went through that when I was younger. I didn't realize it until reflection of later, is when I became more aware of how sensitive I am to different energy. But yeah, thank you, brother. Much love. Azra, what? Go ahead.
I did see a comment and said, yes, that tree does look like Giga. So. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that someone noticed that. It's the life tree or the tree of the world. It's pretty much a rendition of the universe, and it changes, or not changes, but houses the different realities of different dimensions of the universe. But anyways, yeah, Giga Shell. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of how I looked at it. Honestly, I looked at it as, even today, like grounding itself. When we ground into Earth, it's already channeled to the universe. We can be that channel no matter what, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. So, Azrael, we'll go to you next, and we're just talking about tools that people could utilize to help their inner evolution. We're spiritual people, so we all typically seek higher vibration. That's not always the case, and I respect everybody's views, but and there is a duality to inner evolution. There's a big wide range of what we call the multiverse and different levels of dimension or states of consciousness, is how I kind of put it. But can you give us your take on tools that people to help
Yeah,
people?
yeah, I could definitely do that, but like it won't change much of what I shared in the first round. But one of the tools that we always overlook is the tool that we're doing here right now, which is being mindful and just listening to one another. Because when we listen to one another, we're actually ignite sparks to one another. Because there's things that you guys are just discussing right now, and I look at it, yet it's so overlooked because it's so simple. It's right in our faces, just like you mentioned the water and the evaporation and thus far and so forth. Um, think about it, just like Urbanus mentioned, how nature and the earth shifts in order for us to ascend. And also, Angela in the comments was mentioning it. And one thing that we overlook is that the earth provides humidity to us for the same purpose of releasing it and allowing us to know that, water is all around us, even though we don't see the water 24/7. Like in front of us right now, we're breathing it, but yet we call it air. But yet what we're breathing is water, but the water is not visible. But yet if you add heat to it, you will see the vapors, and these vapors are not coming from the ground; they're all around us. So humidity, the vapor, how some people go into these steam rooms and or what you call it, those rituals that they have. It's all around us, and we have to embrace it because once we can understand that we're constantly flowing with the water of breath, and we'll save that for another topic. But anyways, and then another thing that you mentioned was grounded, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I remember as a kid getting punished, and my parents will say, and all of us can hear it. You're grounded. You can't do nothing. Now you're grounded. Yet we look at it as something bad. But think about it. In our spiritual journey, we learned that we need to be grounded. But yet, as kids, we're brought up to think it was something against us. So the duality of looking at it and saying something was bad was really good for us. But yet, it took our experience in our life in this journey to remind one another that the wisdom was within us. So on the first time around, I did mention, self-reflection, and the reason, I do just like meditations. I self-reflect on a daily basis because it's a reminder. Like all of us, the individuals that drive vehicles, sometimes our vehicle we driving it, hey, it just doesn't seem right, or the light came on. Something came on in the vehicle, so we take it to a mechanic, or if we have a handy ODM, we can plug it into the vehicle and we run it and see what faults the vehicle has. But the individual as ourselves, how do we find these faults within ourselves? And I one thing like I mentioned the first time is self-reflection. It's these thoughts when we're mindful, sit down and just self-reflect on what went through the day. But we also have the ability to utilize our journals. Let's write things down too throughout the day because we can get in a moment where everything is so fast paced that we might forget what we were supposed to do. So writing down and using the practice of being mindful, self-reflecting, and journaling can be like that ODM that is used for a vehicle, but it'll be used for ourselves. So that way we can look at it and say, you know what, I'm not feeling good, or I'm experiencing an experience that I don't know how to deal with it, and I'm not dealing with it very well, and it seems a challenge for me. So how am I supposed to deal with it? So self-reflecting, going through it. How did the action or how was the impression actually made an impact on me? And simple tools, but yet they are so powerful when we gain insight of the patterns that we are influenced by them or the behaviors that's coming out of us. Because it helps us grow, it helps us evolve once we understand ourselves. I respect Angela and those that do talk about human design because that's factual. But another thing too is we need to understand who we are, so we need that tool of human design and know who we are as an individual. What makes us, what breaks us. So through self-reflection as well, we need to do these things. So self-reflection will be the ODM for us. So we need to, I say, embrace it on a day-to-day basis. And whether we have high days of beautiful days or those low days, is not to be against us, but it's to better understand who we are as individuals. Yes, Sweat Lodge. Yes, Sweat Lodge. That's the name of it. Yeah, the sauna. So the Earth has its own sauna, and there's parts, regions in different states that the sauna is automatically out in the air, but people complain about it. Oh, it must be too much humidity. My hair is being damaged, or I just don't feel good because there's so much humidity. But yet we're supposed to use that because nature's giving it to us, providing it to us, but yet we overlook it. And I believe through self-reflection, being mindful and journaling it, we can actually find our true authentic self. And I think the main key is that we come to understand that this is not about what other people think about us. When we can actually be genuine and be our authentic self by self-reflecting and understanding who we are as an individual, then others would embrace us for our genuine self, and we can embrace ourselves as well, and others will be genuine. Because the thing about it, the days of us walking over eggshells, are done over with, because this is a new time, a new place where we all are here to be our full self, and um, it's it's just that, to be authentic.
Yes, I appreciate that. Uh, to be authentic. And it takes us a while to find out who we are as being authentic. And don't get me wrong, in the moment, we're still authentic to who we think we are. And then as we get to know each other, ourselves, and each other, but it evolves over time. And I like, I giggled when you said, getting grounded from our parents and how we associate it as a negative thing. And it got me thinking, like, if we somehow can parent to where being grounded is a positive aspect of self-reflection, of learning and how we grow, then maybe as an adult we won't fight ourselves so much when we do something bad. Maybe we'll actually sit and do that positive practice of self-reflection of what we feel needs to change. I think it would probably make the process go a little bit quicker, kind of keep us out of the denial stage and some of the other stages that could happen from associating something with a negative response. Typically, we naturally want to run away from a negative energy or negative response of ourselves. So, just got me thinking of that. So, but I appreciate
You
you,
know,
Ezra.
Well, and that's the thing about it, because the intention is there. When you really think about it, there was the true intention when we got grounded, but nobody took the time to give us the details of what benefits we get from it. So if we can learn to give more instructions, like our manifestations, when we do intentions and manifestations, we can manifest and have intentions, but if we're not specific on it, if we're not specific on the manifestations and the intentions by giving it direction and how we want it to manifest, it could be erratic, it could be chaotic, the outcome could be the outcome, but the outcome will become in a way that is not expected. So when we're grounded, we're like, I'm talking about as a kid, the parent or somebody grounds us or detention or whatever. And oh, you're grounded. That's it. You can't this and that. But nobody give us the instructions of why. Oh, you're grounded. You can't go from the outside, this and that. But once you look within yourself and understand the reason you're grounded, you can self reflect on what put you in this place in the first place. And you can understand, put yourself in Tommy or whoever's shoes because you pushed them or so forth and so forth. The details are grand once we can put the information within it. Because, the word is there and the purpose is there, but what was the information? What were we supposed to gain from it? It's just plug in one of these phone jacks into the wall, but yet the phone is not connected. What big difference does it make? What difference is it going to do if you're not plugging the phone to it? So that's the key. The key is, we have to be specific on it. And I think, we come to an understanding in this era, this time right now where we're living, we're actually walking books. We're all walking books. We're making history every moment, every minute, every word that we speak.
Definitely. We're creating and co-creating and trying to create a balance. Um, if we learn from nature, we'll always create a balance. Nature's constantly creating an equilibrium. It's not ever in balance, but it's always just that fractal of being there, you know, which creates a lot of motion of energy. But yes, you are. It's the mic is yours, and we're just discussing what tools you utilize and maybe some pointers of people and just whatever you want to bring to the topic. But much love.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I like that about the whole grounding thing because I never thought about it that way. And so you know, Chris and Azrael, it's so true about like no one taught us, you know, what to do like while we're grounded, or you know, like so that was really beautiful epiphany about the whole grounding thing. But what I was thinking about while you guys were talking was, you know, in this world, we're taught duality. And one of the greatest tools I like to use is catching duality in my own mind and realizing new insights and trying to attain new levels of awareness from knowing and learning, you know, through that lens. And so, one of the lenses that I see a lot is when people talk about us ascending, and I feel that some people use the word ascending in a separate tone, like meaning like we're going to go somewhere else and get out of here. But I think we often forget that we're human beings and we're special. We're special because we're able to exist in these bodies and we're able to exist in these higher dimensions consciously. So it's more like a ascension, but it's more like an inner ascension, so to speak. Now, one of the tools I have used came naturally to me, which is out-of-body experiences. And we all have the ability to wake up and realizing that we're dreaming. And what that has done for me, it has led me to a feeling of liberation and personal accomplishment where I am constantly reforming myself. I'm feeling more and more like a formless being and knowing that everything is light. And having these experiences for me has helped me become more solidified in my own inner knowing about reality so that I can manifest in this world my dream body, really. And so I think when it comes to ascension, that we have to look inside and grow inside and match those frequencies that we know that are there and then attain them with our inner knowing. Now, another tool also is knowledge. Learning about, and of course, the knowledge that I've been flowing with is the Emerald Tablets. But one of the things the Emerald Tablets has kind of taught me is a knowledge about light and dark. And when I finally learned or felt the knowledge of darkness and the knowledge of light, there was a feeling in my mind where I felt freer than free because I understand that it's all within, and this universe really is a projection of your own reality. And there's a lot of people that say light and dark are balanced and all this stuff, and you can't have light without the dark. But I don't believe that. I believe that the light shines so bright that the darkness flees from it. And so knowledge is power. And so more solidification of yourself as a awakened and spiritual being becomes an actual reality because you're no longer open to um, non knowledge, or you understand the balance of everything in a deep way to where you seek more of the light. A lot of times we speak a lot about the light and know that it's good, but we don't have the experiences to really solidify it so that when we're tested, we don't bring out that light vibration, or we don't speak light all the time. And so for me, meditation was key for a while. I meditated for many years, first learning how to leave the body and meditating while laying down. But as I got more mature and I grew, I knew there was something that I was looking for from meditation that I hadn't found yet. And I would go out in nature and meditate on stillness. And it took me a few months, but I did find it. And what I found was a feeling of peace that was almost like a new lover. It took over my brain, it took over my thoughts, and I knew that I had touched something that I had never touched before. And that peace has always stayed with me. It has always carried me. It has always sustained me and propelled me to understand and interact with this reality and actually see that peace reflected back to me in this reality because of my own thoughts and my own feelings. Is a beautiful inner evolution for me. To accept everyone and to not judge people and catch yourself, just like Azrael was saying, that self-reflection is key, but you must self-reflect from a state of peace and openness and not from a state of duality. And you must always catch yourself. You must always be willing to change yourself and release and let go of all of what you think is what you perceive, and be open for the unknown and be ready for it, and to conquer fear and to realize how fear has shaped us, and to realize even fear hides within us even when we think that we're we have courage and strength. You must really analyze yourself and know when you are coming from a place of fear. And so that shadow work, for me, looking at myself, I've realized that my parents, my mother, has imprinted her anger on me. So I've been working on that, and I've been finding more peace from realizing that, I've been imprinted from my mother. And so, in dealing with her, I've been able to create more peace and not react like I would as a child, and realize that I'm the parent. Oftentimes, we have to be creative to find the solution for ourselves that will lead us to a deeper feeling of peace in our life. And it takes a certain amount of creativity um, and a certain amount of awareness to let go and to be something new every day, every moment, and learn from this world and from everyone around us without judging people. And then you'll find yourself on a smooth lake of feelings and open up to a universe of feelings that will propel you into more and more deeper understanding and deeper experiences of peace. So there's many tools. Thank you for this slice of time. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you. So many things you said. So, like, all right, when you get into light, we're talking about, low vibration and high vibration, and it really gets into like our energetic field is how we understand it, right? And I've always had this expression that you can get so high vibrant that you turn dark, that you become invisible and light can't shine through you. And, there's been testimony of certain people that have in meditation became invisible. And it's getting into that higher vibrant light spectrum that we can't perceive to the naked eye right now, right here. So, the dark doesn't always have to mean a negative thing in that perspective. It's just something unknown that we can't perceive, and sometimes that can develop fear and give us a negative perspective of what the dark is. But don't get me wrong, fear can also be perceived as a very positive thing for us. Fear can save our life. It can move us as long as we're moving in fear. Let's put it that way. Sitting in fear doesn't do much good. But letting fear move us, if we can, let's say, make rational decisions within fear, then it can get us over the fear we have. It can also be a protection that we've developed ourselves that steers us away from energies that we don't like, that doesn't serve us. So, yeah, there's a lot of positive things that we can perceive when it comes to fear as well. Sorry, I appreciate you, James. And I want to go to Angela next. Basically, we're just talking about the tools, and you go ahead.
Yeah, so it's funny because in the first time when I talked, I kind of preempted your question for the second one, but there is still more that I want to say on it. So, because I talked a little bit about, yoga and breath. But I think that there's lots of interesting things that everyone said. And yes, you are, James. I think what you were talking about fear is like, it's the crucial thing, right? And the tool that relates to that is the mindfulness. I think that everybody talks about shadow work a lot, and like through all the different groups. And I feel like it's not always clear. Everybody uses that as a term, but it's not always clear exactly what they're meaning pragmatically, like in practice. Because it can be, just sitting with the feelings, but for me, mindfulness, as I call it, fear hunting, right? Looking for and finding and understanding and knowing the root of the fear in order to know the mind, in order to be able to manage the intention, in order to be able to allocate energy to where it's nourishing, in order to be able to grow the tree, in order to become, in order to shed, in order to purify. And I think there's a lot there, but to go back to what Azrael was saying about the water, I was really just seeing like cycles of like the water cycle, right? It evaporates and then it densifies and then it drops and it nourishes and then it comes in. But then I was seeing like we were talking about water purifying, and I was thinking about lotuses and the way that the roots have to go down into the mud in order for the lotus to purify the mud. But then also that fire, like, and then I was thinking, well, is water the only way to purify? And then I was thinking about the way that fire purifies, and then the carbon nourishes the soil as well. So it's just really thinking about elemental movement, right? Because in order to grow, the energy has to move, and everything about mindfulness is about the allocation of attention in order to know where to prune, to know where to nourish. And it's fear that distorts our perception of that, so that we nourish the wrong thing, so that we grow the wrong wolf. we persecute the wrong thing, we misjudge what is good and bad on the basis of the distortions that come from retained fear that color the way that that we see things, ourselves and others and situations, so that we think that this is good and this is bad, but we judge it backwards because we don't know how to feel into what's underneath the surface. And regarding that, I think that part of that is the happiness trap of chasing the highs and not understanding that what is deep and low in terms of frequency goes further and it sustains. And I just think that so much about that purification process is not about elevating frequency so that it is higher and feels better. That to me, it's about clearing the way so that the flow is smooth rather than turbulent. And I think that that is a fundamental distinction. It doesn't matter if the frequency is low or high in an energetic, strict sense. Like when we talk about the way that frequency of energy and sound works, it doesn't matter if the voice is deep or the voice is high. That's not what determines the purity and therefore the nourishment that comes with it. It's whether or not it can move freely. It's about movement. Yeah, thank you. Movement throughout our field so that we can integrate, so that we can reside in the heart, so that we can see clearly, so that we can allocate energy appropriately, so that we can nourish ourselves and others, so that we can become. That's how I understand it.
I love it. It made me think about air as well as purification. Like it creates just the movement of air creates negative ions. That honestly, negative ions itself, an art exchange. It's a process that happens chemically, but it still creates what I call happy endorphins. Um, you know, but it's still a form of purification.
That's even purer. Like it's like, because it's like in terms of density, fire is like, we're talking about carbon and actual life forms, but then water is like a bit less dense than that. But air is like, that's almost just pure energy exchange at that point with the negative ions. I love that.
And I think Earth, it definitely purifies itself. That's a given. So.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to yield, but I just remembered the other thing I was thinking about is the nature of composting in terms of like the process that the earth goes through, like the breakdown and cycling of nutrients at the root is like the core and fundamental thing. And what happens when we throw away, out of fear, we throw away things we don't like them, we don't think that they're good. Humans, they do this with the ecosystems and the environment. They want to clear all the rubbish of the leaf litter, but in doing that, there's nothing to break down to nourish the soil, to protect, to breed the microbes, to house the insects, to nourish the roots. So that was the other thing.
I agree. It's all symbolic. It works together, and that's what I've always learned from nature. And I've always felt that just us as humans, if we could just learn from nature, I think we would, as a whole, we would see things differently. But it's happening already. Don't get me wrong, because I seek for positive things, and it is happening. It's just that means I can't watch the news every time the news is on.
Right. And what I really loved about this conversation is that for me it really grounded it back into just remembering like the basics. Yeah.
They're important. They really are. that's where we get into even what I call grounding itself. For me, grounding is getting myself back to the basics. It's getting back to my balance, back to where my inner evolution has brought me to where I am today, and who I am today, and who I represent myself as, without a false representation of myself. I used to build myself up to what I thought other people wanted me to be, and that just hasn't been who I am for well over 10 years now. It's been a long process and still working on it. I do what quote unquote shadow work in many, many different ways, and it's all intentional to better myself, which in the long run can help better other people around me. So, especially my family, how I project towards my family can also carry on for generations. So I try to really be mindful of that and mindful of the people that are around me. Kimmy, I don't know if you were here for much of the live. We're getting ready to go into just final final thoughts, but I want to give you the opportunity to speak about inner evolution. Round one was just our understanding of inner evolution to themselves, and then round two was just the tools that we utilize in our life to help evolve into maybe the person that we dreamed about a long time ago, or what we want to be today in our growth. So the mic is yours, the floor is yours, and you're welcome to share anything you want on the topic. Thank you. Are you there? I did turn your mic off earlier, in case, just because we like to, it can create a background. There you go. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi, we're just discussing the inner evolution, and you're more than welcome to add to the topic any way you want to. It can be about the tools we utilize to evolve into the person we want to be spiritually, or just your understanding of inner evolution for yourself. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I am 54 and I've delved into myself deeply. And, I've questioned all the things that, it means to be human. And so, at this point, I feel like the age of Aquarius is upon us. And with that, I feel like the foundations have to be disrupted within the age of Aquarius, because we're transitioning between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. And I know that it's a tumultuous time. And not that I welcome tumultuous time, but I realize that it has to happen. And I also realize that the foundations have to be disrupted. So with everything that's going on in politics all over the world, and also in this country, I feel like, yes, it has to happen, because ultimately the age of Aquarius is like a golden age. Because if you think about Aquarius, they're humanitarian, they're for everybody. But a chorus from Aquarius is the Leo, which is all about me. So I come to understand that I'm the one. I have to make the change. I have to be the one to awaken and to, stand up to change as we see it for us as individuals. And then I feel like once we individually do that, I mean, almost saying like, thanks to TikTok, thanks to the media that allows us to get to each other, that we can actually talk to each other, within our own environment. Like, I'm talking to you, you're probably in your house. I'm talking to people, they're in their house. And that, we're just like, like sharing with each other our life experience.
Your mic turned off.
Oh, geez. Sorry. So what I'm saying is, like, I know that time is tumultuous, but I expect that because it has to be broken up. The fact that after that, which might take a long time, that we could come together as a people to realize that my ultimate goal is to be happy enough to say that let's focus on the forces that are affecting us, like corporations and capitalism out of control, and the 1%. So I feel like at some point, I feel like the fourth turning is like the fact that we are going to actually make things happen, but it's going to take a while because we have to watch the fall of humanity. We have to watch the fall. It's going to fall because they're wrong. They're wrong. They're so wrong, So I'm not unhappy about that, but it's very upsetting when you see it fall. It's very upsetting, and you might feel like it's an emergency and that we have to do something about it, but we're actually just like watching what's happening with individuals and governments when they fall. We're watching what's happening because it has to happen. So, I mean, of course, in due right, we don't want to be overrun by capitalism. We don't want to be overrun by health. 34 million a year. Like, why should they? Why? It's wrong. It's wrong. So it's almost like the French Revolution, Les Miserables, when they talk of having the people band together to make our lives, the people, like the 99%. That's a big percentage, And we just have to, we really have to just wait and watch. And also fight, when we can. When the fight is right, we could fight. But I'm just hoping that, honestly, the Democrats could fight this, sorry to say, but the Trump bullshit coming in. They're obviously not going to abide by the rule of this country. they could easily destroy this country. So the experiment of democracy, I feel like part of that is that we have to stand up against the people that say when they're coming in, we're not going to respect anything of the government. We're not going to respect that. And then, you know, as like any American living this long, we're like, what? You're just going to impart any imposition on us that leaves us fragmented and splits us up? No, like, no. I'm from New York, so I could easily say, you could fuck the fuck off, you know? I mean, at some point, I've been alive. Joy in living, but I know it's as a result of our country not treating us that right. And so at some level, I feel like we have to fight against it because we're talking about years to come. We're talking about our children, our grandchildren, you know, and so on, that we can't let narcissists take over and do what they want. We're a democratic country. We need to be democratic. This is what our country's been about for the entire time. And that if we're going to squash that, like Trump, if they're going to squash it, bury it, deny it, we're going to become something we did not have on the books. Like, we did not think about this. And I find that highly upsetting and, like, questionable. But as a New Yorker, you know, I feel like I'm not going to go down with this bullshit opinion that you got. Just because you got an opinion doesn't make you a genius. And you could fuck the flying fuck off and leave it to people that have a brain about democracy. Hopefully, we'll survive, but you know what? If not, we'll fucking goddamn die. We'll just all fucking die. We'll all die.
Oh, hey, we're not supposed to say that word on TikTok.
I'm sorry.
I feel like we might have also gotten a little bit away from the topic.
We did. I wanted to let her. I wanted to
Also,
let
as
her
an omnipresent.
express. But
I am
you had a lot of.
yeah.
Go ahead. Or no, just one second. You had like a lot of great points in the beginning that even went with this topic, but it led you on to things that you've been thinking about, and I understand. There's nothing wrong with that. Like how you talked about how we see like a fall in foundation. Like that has to happen when people deconstruct. When a foundation's broken on a building, usually the building has to come down to fix the foundation before you can rebuild. And we can see that happen within and without. We can see that happening within ourselves sometimes. We can see that happening with the world, with a country, with certain cultures, with TikTok communities. So I just wanted to throw that there. There was a lot of things that were on point with topic, but it did start leading off topic, which is fine, and I respect your views. So.
Thank you so much for allowing me to talk, and I just feel like it's the age of Aquarius, and I'm a Pisces, so I realized that Pisces was because of the old, forgiveness. It was about, which is a very necessary component, but also um, just going into Aquarius, it's like really important that I feel like Aquarius is about all of us. But then at the same point, across from Aquarius is Leo. So Leo's all about us. And so I feel like it's up to each of us to make a difference or to learn the difference. Like, Gandhi, he said, it's all about you. So I feel like once and for all, if we all make a difference, thanks to TikTok and us being able to all come together and talk to each other, that we all come together and then we'll be a whole, like TikTok, like Aquarius says, we'll be humanitarian, we'll come together, we'll find a whole. And that Aquarius is also, the age of Aquarius is also a golden age. I'm not saying we could save each other or we're going to die, but I feel like the forces are they're happening.
Well, and I think with what you're saying, Kimmy, when you talk about the age of Aquarius, you are talking about Pluto, right? And then Pluto and its return for America as well. And so I think spiritual talk, what you're saying there about the foundations, that's what Pluto does. It raises to the ground anything that's not on a firm foundation. But it's also just the nature of change. And I think it's really just about how do we hold ourselves with discernment in the face of the fear that comes with change. How do we manage the melancholy that precedes and feeds into mutation, right? And Kimmy, I just think, like, I'm not sure if you were here before, but I was talking a little bit about, like, the mindfulness that is the use of attention and energy, because everything that you've talked about, it's so important to me. I've written a book about it in regards to, like, what human design says is coming during this time of the change and the reasons for it across the planes and inside humans, but also outside structurally. And so I think that it's true that it's going to change and it's going to be raised to the ground. But the crucial thing is, how do we maintain our own inner rootedness, and the careful discernment and management of our energy, so that we are ready to respond appropriately, but we don't fight in a way that just feeds the forces that we're trying to dissemble or oppose or rearrange. Thank you for letting me interject, spiritual talk.
Okay, hold on one second. Kimmy, as a fellow New Yorker, I also grew up with said person, right? We know, everyone here, I'm sure, knows. But the only thing that I believe happened is that since we can't really do anything except for evolve and make our own energetical our energy and the resonance frequency of our own field.
Right, but that energy needs to be then grounded into the 3D, though, right? It needs to become tangible.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you don't know how to do it, then you don't do it. But I'm pretty sure that most of everyone here knows how to, like, at least make it better within their own self. And
Well,
hopefully, okay, hopefully that's enough. That's what I'm saying.
I think that we do and we don't. I think that humanity, that's the lesson, that's the, I think that humanity are in a stage of their evolution where we're learning how to manage emotion. I don't think that either anyone here or any of humanity in general currently have the level of emotional regulation and consciousness that is coming in the future. I think it's being developed, and that's the challenge in front of us.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's a process.
definitely.
And as we evolve through that process, I think it's really like as we reflect, even in it, it'll look like baby steps over time. But I agree 100%. And it is a process through ascension, even if it's Gaia ascending and we're just along for the ride. It's all part of that process. So I appreciate everybody on the panel. Thank you. Really, we're just going to go to the final thoughts. With our final thoughts, it's just you can do final thoughts of the topic itself. Please give yourself a shout out or anyone else that you might want to give a shout out for. We like to promote small businesses. And I'll give a shout out right now for Spiritual Talk. I'm Chris's Crystals or Crystal Chris on TikTok, but this is a shared account that we have developed and we utilize every Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's different spiritual topics. It's a roundtable discussion, and there's everyone basically that's a moderator for this channel. It also has access to it and could be a mod if they would like to, anytime. So, Vinny, would you like to go ahead and do final thoughts? Don't forget to give yourself a shout out, what you do on TikTok. I enjoy your content, so.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, part of the challenging thing of this Sunday night is the energy that we put out here. It's very healing and also very calming. So for me, on a day like today, where I've been running around the past couple of days, I've been kind of burning the candle at both ends, man. It's real tough at the end to really stay with it and not drift off into where I need to go. So, but I'll keep it short. So I appreciate this live. I appreciate everybody in it. You know, every day, energetically, we make a difference. It may not seem that way, but we are. And we're going towards a positive direction, not a negative direction. And the fact that we all here, we've all chose ourselves. So that's the important thing. The fact that you chose yourself and you've chose to use empathy to heal the earth, which is the good choice, not the easy choice, is to be commended. So give yourselves a lot of gratitude and a lot of compassion, because we're all doing amazing things on this planet right now, and we're doing something that no one's ever seen done. So it's a journey and it's a process, and sometimes it seems like we're not getting anywhere, but we are. You know, and just enjoy yourself along the way and have fun, and give yourself a lot of compassion, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's cheering yourself on, nobody else. There's people in your life that want to see you do well, but you're the one responsible for you. So cheer yourself on along the way. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I like that. Compassion. It's hard to come by sometimes, honestly, but patience too. I think giving yourself patience, not setting so many high expectations, but maybe setting subtle expectations in between that high dream expectation helped me a lot. I appreciate you, brother. I've known you for now going on almost 2 years, and I've really enjoyed your company. And we definitely grow together, so thank you. Urbanus, final thoughts?
I just want to say that be aware of the gifts that you've been given. Be aware of the universe telling you, literally telling you, that you got this. And there's been plans. Well, I'm not gonna obviously talk about anyone else's plans. I'm just saying there's plans for your own self that you've already understood. And the only thing you need to do is be ascended or evolved enough in order to put those plans in place. It will happen, but when it happens and how quick it happens is up to you. It's up to you to understand the lessons that's been given to you and being able to comprehend said lessons. Yeah, everyone awakens at a different time in their life, but it doesn't matter if you were 9 or 70. It's the process of it's processing the spiritual energies, processing the ideas and ideals for you and yourself. And if you can't, you can't. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I think everybody can. I think it's why there's so many different aspects of spirituality out there, is because we've found so many different ways that have worked for others, and yeah, we all can. We can all achieve anything that we want. And there's many different aspects of and ways to get there in a healthy manner. So I appreciate you, Rubes. I've also known you for a long time, and you're amazing. I love our one-on-ones for hours on end, to the point where we're both just yawning so much. We're like, all right, we gotta go to bed. So I appreciate you. Yes, you are. What's your final thoughts?
Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for doing this. I really appreciate it. This is a great space, and you hold great energy as always. And I do Emerald Tablets Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we study the Emerald Tablets. And it's been a lot of confirmation for me from the Emerald Tablets. I've been studying them and having experiences from them out of the body and stuff, which is refresher for me. I've never had such a piece of literature affect me the way it has been. So I welcome you guys to join in. And I record them and put them on YouTube, which is in my profile if you guys want to catch up. We're on episode 5. And so I just want to give that little plug there. But, when it comes to this world, and I encourage you guys to, with the energies that are available, to create out of the box. Not only think outside of the box, but create outside of the box. And one of the things I've learned from the Emerald Tablets is that there is a such thing as cause and effect. And the universe, I believe, is built in such a way so that when you create a certain cause, there is an effect. So what I say now is be creative in your causes. Be creative in your expressions and be imaginative in your reality. This has been a great topic about inner evolution and a lot of great things, especially with Angela and Rabanis. All you guys have opened up. Everyone who's listening, open up our eyes. So, I just want to say that there's an old saying that says, "Don't be in this world," or you're not from this world, but just be in it, so to speak. But just realize that you have an opportunity to bring in with your mind frequencies that are new to this world, that are needed for this world. So when we think to ourselves with old patterns, just realize that we're not growing, we're not evolving. And when it comes to politics and all that stuff, we tend to still use duality as us, as saying that we're America, let's say. But in truth, we're not America. We're human beings who are sovereign and awakening. So I encourage everyone to go outside and look up and make contact with light beings who are just like you, awake, but waiting for you to take the step that's needed to change this world. We're not going to change the world through fighting. We're going to have to change it through peace, a peace that the world has never seen. So I encourage you all to radiate your frequencies to the sky. Ask for signs. Ask for signs in your dreams. And make contact as much as you can to change the world and to be the change that is needed for this planet and for the animals and for all the loving beings across the universe who are waiting for you to say hi. Well, this is a very real topic. If you haven't had extraterrestrial experiences, I encourage you guys to seek them out with no fear and just see what it's about. And you may be, you may be able to awaken to a certain level of feelings that you never thought existed, and be able to implement your cause so that the effect manifests itself in this world. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. Keep challenging yourself. Keep checking yourself. Keep silencing yourself. And be at one with the elements that are around you on the earth, and realize that you are made of the same elements, except you have a voice to move and speak and to cause an effect within this world. So you guys shape your realities, and I'll meet you every step of the way in love and truth. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody.
I love you, brother. I really love I love everything you said, but what stuck with me, of course, got my brain just turning, was creating outside the box. Um, the cause and effects to ourselves, the cause and effects of what we create for others, and so on and so forth. Like, I used to study big business, and I mean like multi-billion-dollar corporations, of how they became successful in the first place. It's all through cause and effects. Everything in business really is. But big business, they utilize and maximize profits on the cause and the effects. So they actually utilize even on the back end. And most of them, the way they do it is because they own multiple companies that benefit on different fluctuations of the economy. And it's like a crutch for them. But sometimes they can have those benefits fluctuate in every aspect of their business, even though it was set up for one drops, one will gain. So it's just got me thinking about how true that really is on how we evolve and become to know ourselves, how we start to be understanding the causes of what we consider our outside reality to our inside reality, and then also the fluctuation of our inside reality and the cause and effect to our outside reality. So I appreciate that. And yes, if anybody gets time, give James a follow. His Emerald Tablet discussions are amazing. They don't just listen to the Emerald Tablets, they actually discuss it, open topic. It's really nice. So, thank you, James. You were going to say something? Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say thank you. And yeah, that's really amazing what you just spoke about, the cause and creating out of the box. Opens up a lot of ramifications. Thank you for tech marking it for me. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Angela, final thoughts, and don't forget to do a shout out, please.
So yeah, it took me a while to make the connection. Crystals to spiritual talk. So the spiritual talk channel, is that like the new or Earth channel where like multiple people run it? Am I understanding that right?
It is kind of. We technically made the channel like almost a year ago. It just took a while before we actually did anything with it. I think we've had 21 weeks that we've been actually consistent with it though now.
Okay. I was like really slow on the uptake of that. It's like, oh, um, okay. And let me see if I can remember. Um, final thoughts. I did have some, but either I'm not going to say them or there's someone else or something else that needs to be talked first. I'm going to sit for a minute.
We can. I know you. Do you do like tarot readings and different stuff like that, or do you have anything that you offer for your practices?
Oh, you want to know what I do? Well, I don't do anything paid at the moment. I do a lot though. So I have my Discord, the link's in my bio. It's called The Temple. I have spaces there that are available. I offer people their human design charts. That's just something that I do for free. So anybody who joins the Discord, if they drop me their details, I add them to my library and I put their details, like there's a thread there so I can give people their designs. I don't know if I've done yours actually. Have I done yours?
No, not mine. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, the door is open. With the Discord, you've just got to like when if anyone else who's interested, when you open it, you need to open the link tree in a browser. Don't try to open the Discord in a browser because TikTok won't open the Discord link directly. Yes, that's what I have. I used to do lives, but I haven't been doing them at the moment. I've been operating more in more closed spaces. But yeah, so design, energy work. I do read tarot, but it's not something that I read for people or regularly or anything. Yeah, I'm writing a book. I've been working on it since 2020. It's a 5-part book. It was called Going Beyond, and then it was called Aligned. and it's currently called Shadow Dancing. So I've kind of retreated from a lot of engaging to work on that. I do have a whole bunch of other channels. My main other channel is called Watching the Serpent on TikTok, and I make like educational TikToks there, specifically talking about like Kundalini and the serpent energy and the Kabbalah. So yeah. I guess you really had to prompt me to say that. I wasn't going to remember to say it on my own.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to check that channel. I'm sure I've seen the channel because I think I remember asking if it was you up on a panel one day, and it might have been on that account.
Yeah, yeah, well, I've got like, I like to make different like types of content, so I tend to make like different accounts depending on the type of content that I want to make for a certain channel. So yeah, I dropped it in the chat anyway.
Okay, awesome.
I'll vouch for
I don't think you need to. I think Chris sent me a friend request like ages ago, and I didn't click to who it was.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to like overstep.
No, you're fine. You can. You can. It's so tribal though. When everybody vouches for each other, I'm always like, I don't know, we all need to be using our own instincts, right? Like, yeah. I appreciate it. It's the tribal nature. Like this person can come into the tribe because we trust them. It's very tribal though. There was something else I was going to say about embodiment as the final thoughts, but again, I'm on pause, so
Okay.
I guess while we're waiting, you guys, I'm pretty sure people have been getting lots of downloads and even visions. And obviously discernment needs to be used when you feel that you're having a dream, or you know, whether you feel like you're going to another dimension, or just understanding what people are like, how you resonate with certain information. I've learned recently that said knowledge is not as easily gathered. It's like you think that you understand what's actually happening, but the universe will tell you that you only have a fractal of the energy and the information, and then it's up to you to either go forward or remove yourself from said energy. All right, that's it.
yeah, I think the fear, that other channel that I have that's called Watching the Serpent, it's about like in the Kabbalah they talk about the sum total of the illusions that we filter our experience through that stop us from seeing.
Oh, continue. That was
Yeah, you put me on pause again. I'm um that's why the fear is the start point, because the fear is what causes the conditioning, that causes the distortion, that stops this clear seeing, because the capacity, hold on one second. The ability to have visions, I just posted a TikTok today about the Kundalini from a Hindu perspective to that channel, the Watching the Serpent one. And they talked about, like, you shouldn't awaken the Kundalini if you don't have a firm foundation. Because the snake has to come up, but then it has to go back down. And what we see in the spiritual community is that when the energy doesn't ground, is that the visions and the seeing continues, but the discernment is the filtration. When the energy is coming in through the crown, and there's an accumulation of what's called dross, a build-up of past experiences of fear, of conditioning. Just one sec.
Let the serpents bite.
And then the serpent's bite. This is the thing. This is what I've been thinking about all day, Chris. Say more. Say more.
That was James that said that. But
Oh, James. Sorry, James. Say, I've been waiting. Look, James. Real talk. I've had you on my list since April. I've been waiting for the conversation between you and I. The serpent bites, please say more. What do you know of this?
So what I know about it is that the reason why we must clear ourselves of negativity is because this energy of Kundalini amplifies your thinking, what you're thinking about. That's why we achieve stillness, so that we can allow this energy to flow through us. So when we harbor like fear, that fear can get amplified, and it could disrupt your energy system and make you more in self-doubt, and it hinders the progress of the Kundalini. So it snaps back down, and I guess it's like a really like a jolt, like it feels like a jolt. So one of the things that I've read in one of my favorite books is he said that we must become proficient in the art of canceling a negative thought before we think it. And so allow that to sit in your mind for a second. And the power of being in the present moment and being at a state of peace genuinely is a way to channel this energy so that it's a more productive and we can have a more beautiful experience of it. But also what's happening is a lot of people are confusing Kundalini energy with sexual energy. And that's one thing that many people are experiencing and don't realize. Usually when they feel this energy, they feel sexual energy, and they usually go and take care of it. But holding your energy in, holding your vibration within your own frequency and trusting within yourself will allow you to experience a level of awareness that we have been longing for. And so I'm not sure what else I could say, Angela.
Well, there's so much there, and I think maybe, I don't know if the talk for today is meant to be wrapping up, so I'll try to keep it brief. There's a lot that I could say about some of the mechanics and the specifics of some of the things that you're talking about, but I don't need to get into those right now. I just want to know specifically about the biting part, though. So when you said the serpent bites, have you read about that in the Emerald Tablets, or is that from experience, or what was the context
Well, that was from The Psychic Explorer, written by V. Van Dam. And that was the book that initiated me to start having out of body experiences and to travel out of the body. And so that was, he talked a lot about the Kundalini in the meditation section and about how it rises up in our system and amplifies what you're feeling inside, and usually it'll lead to a very blissful experience where you feel like you've reached something, a level of attainment, and then it takes a few days to gradually go away, and then but if you let's say you must have power over your thoughts because it amplifies what you think of by a huge margin. Able to I was lucky because I had an experience where I woke up conscious on a higher dimension, and this was natural with no psychedelics, and it grounded me to a feeling of love, a feeling of excitement, and a feeling of knowing that there's something beyond instead of wondering. So I've been a little bit, I got a little bit, I've been a little bit more like blessed because of that experience. So I am, I'm pretty good at, being good.
I can relate to
Oh, sorry.
I can relate to when the first thing I thought when you said serpent bites is exactly that you have a tremendous energy spike. For instance, it's why I try to at least say that it needs to happen naturally, not using certain enhancements, because in those, if you do it guided at least, um, to try to reach certain levels that haven't been achieved prior, because we can have really bad experiences because we're not actually in that energy. We're utilizing a tool to raise it for us. Um, I learned that just in the astral a long time ago. If I'm not in the right state of mind or consciousness, I stay away from the astral as much as I possibly can because it's a perception. And it's what I generate is what reflects back at me, at least from my experience. So that also happens in these Kundalini awakenings. Um, if it's, in my opinion, if it's not done naturally, because we need to be the ones that are residing with that energy and generating that energy for it to be done naturally and not being generated through an outside substance or influence. But yeah.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, I am gonna cut it short. I got a young one still up that I need to get in bed. So I appreciate you guys. It was a wonderful discussion. We'll be back. I don't know what the topic is yet, but we'll be back next Sunday, and of course we'll be around. Thank you guys. Much love.
Thanks for having me. It was very I found it nourishing.
Good.
So
Same
yeah.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.